so glad that you're here today, and thank you for joining the author's table.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Neesa, in one word, describe yourself.
Passionate.
Passionate. Oh, very nice. Oh, very good. Now, like, what were some of your thoughts when you first published your book and you received it? What were some of your thoughts and feelings?
I was ecstatic. I could not believe that I had actually got it done.
Yes.
Got it done. I've been writing all my life. I wrote for a newspaper for 30 years, wrote a farm column for 25 years for a daily newspaper. So I was used to being published, but it wasn't the same thing.
Exactly.
It was completely different
Yeah, because it was yours. It was
because
your
it was
own.
mine.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
And for the whole world to see, right?
For the whole world to see if they choose to see it. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that's a wonderful feeling. I remember when I did my first book, and you like you said, all the hard work and that you put into it, and then when you get it in the mail and you look at it, it's like, man, this is mine.
Exactly. And now I feel silly because I left mine in the other room.
Oh, if
My book.
well, do you want to go get it? I'll
Do you
wait.
have time for me to go get it?
I have time.
Okay, hang on one moment.
Absolutely. Oh, welcome back. And Nisa, don't show it yet. Don't show it yet.
Okay.
But thank you. That's awesome. Now, Nisa, can you show or demonstrate like your creative process, like from book design? How did you come about with doing your book? That's pretty neat.
I start with a character.
Oh,
I either see somebody, meet somebody that they kind of just grab me,
yes,
and it's like they have a story. I learned in newspaper writing that everybody has a story.
that's right.
You just have
Absolutely,
to figure out what it is.
that's right.
And so I start with character, and then I look at um, ways that they might have a story to tell. And then I just start developing that, add the other characters in. I'm really big on choosing a place first where I want this to develop.
Hmm.
And so I know that, so I can put that in my mind as far as where's everybody going to go? What are they going to do?
So you're setting the stage.
Already, yes.
Yeah, awesome.
And I probably think on this for months before I start.
Ah, you see, you could have been a director too. See,
So
that's
I,
pretty
I
awesome.
want to, I want to, yeah, have it. I have it in my mind always before I sit down to write.
Okay, so the you got the plot too, sort of ready in your mind.
Yes,
Mm,
yes. So when I think about, and I have, for instance, I'm just about three-quarters of the way through my next book,
excellent.
my second book, but I'm already thinking about what's going to happen in the third book.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
And I have not written anything down. It's just there. If I lose my memory tomorrow, I'm in trouble.
Now, do you do like thumbnail sketches, like in your mind, or like little sketches to sort of
Yes,
you do? Okay.
yes. And I do because I wrote a farm column for 25 years, once a week, it was always due on Thursday morning. And I would go to bed and I would lay in bed while the other people worry about um, finances and people they've met that day, whatever circumstances.
Not
I
Nisa.
think about what my characters are going to do the next day.
That's great. That's
And
awesome.
so when I get up in the morning, I can just write that down. I have the whole thing plotted out in my mind.
That's
Now, there have
wonderful.
been a few times I couldn't remember the next morning what the heck I was going to say. So
Now,
that's a problem.
now, so like that's like journalism because you have to have things specific. You have to have the facts straight and everything.
Yes. And I have a degree in journalism.
Oh, okay. That's okay. That's what.
Wrote for newspapers for 30 years. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
now,
So
who is your target audience then, Nisa?
my target audience, we've had some discussions about this. I would like it to be anybody between the ages of 20 and 90. Realistically, it is probably shorter than that, probably between 40 and 90
Is it just
women.
okay? Is it just because of the material?
Yeah, it's not, they're mature characters in mature circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
We have some silliness put in there. And I like to include generally as a secondary character an older woman who also finds a relationship.
Okay. All right.
Just
Yes, that's
per
right.
something happens that she's included.
Nice. So let's talk about Bachelor Dylan Hanley in your book called Sweet Distraction. Now,
Yes,
seems like Dylan has his hands full.
he kind of does has his handful because
Yeah.
he was just going along, you know, playing golf, working at the bank, and he really didn't expect to form any kind of deep relationship. But
That's yeah. That's what he thought, right?
that's what he thought. Yeah. And
Now, yeah.
likewise, my Jill Baxter did not have any thoughts to develop any sort of deep relationship. She had her hands full.
Yes, absolutely. Now the background, the settings in Mankato, Minnesota. Is that correct?
Mankato,
Mankato,
Mankato.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were putting this book together, so you already knew the the background, where it was going to be. So that was
Yes,
already that is wonderful.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and it just so happened I had been to Mankato, Minnesota, um, just not too in the distant past, and I
Mm-hmm.
liked the town.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it,
Now it's an
and
old town, isn't it? It's a
it is an old town. Yes,
yes.
yes, and so um, I can't say that I have been to Minnesota a lot. I live in Nebraska. Should be able to say that, but I haven't been there much. Um, but the town struck me as a historic town with a small town feel,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we have a kind of a closer knit community when we're talking about my characters. They seem to meet people and
Now
do things. And
now do all your characters are like based off real people
no,
or okay.
not at all,
Okay.
not at all. They they may have, for instance, Jill. Um, I don't know anybody like Jill. Even um, I knew of a person that had this circumstance,
Mm-hmm.
and when I started drawing on the character, I felt like I wanted somebody who was strong and knew who she was herself. She was good with herself.
Mm-hmm.
In the next book I'm writing, the main character again is not anybody I know, but she's faced some challenges and she's trying to work through those.
Okay.
So not anything that, yeah, not me.
Now your next book, is it based off this one as well, or is it something completely different?
This is something completely different. I will
Okay.
come back to so my third book will be the second in the series.
Wow. That's great. I have to
But the second book, again, I chose a location that I've been to and I loved it, and I thought that there was a story there to be told.
mm-hmm.
Nebraska's not very exciting, so to speak,
It's
but
very
maybe
flat.
it is not flat.
Oh, it's
Not
not?
at all.
No.
No, it's not. No.
Oh, okay.
People think that because when you drive through on Interstate 80,
That's
you're
what I
driving
did.
through the Platte River Valley.
Okay.
So you're basically driving through a 6 mile wide ancient river.
I drove through that.
If you get off of Interstate 80, we have beautiful, beautiful bluffs along the Missouri. We have glacial till
Mm.
country in the northeast where it's a lot like Minnesota. It's very hilly
Okay.
and very green. And then we have those rugged, I call them South Dakota, like the Badlands Formation.
Yes.
It's not exactly Badlands, but very
So
craggy and rugged in the northwest.
very scenic.
Yes, and then we have the sandhills, which you can't compare to anything in the world, in my opinion.
Wow. Yes.
There's no trees, but it's all hills.
So I got gypped.
It's, you maybe did, yeah, should have taken another
Yeah,
route.
I know it. But I
Yeah,
was going
yeah,
out west, so but I took 80. Yeah.
yes,
Now,
yes,
Nisa, can you show your book, please? The
sure.
Yeah. So there
There
she
it is.
is. Okay, very nice. Yes.
And I've decided that all my covers are going to be my own designs, my own
Nice.
photography,
Excellent. Excellent.
and so yeah, I'm
Now, do you?
I'm very excited about it.
Well, you should be. I mean, it's a big achievement. You think about, not too many people can even just think about writing a book. You know, I mean, I think it's a huge achievement to have a book published for one. y-
Right. And
and
it takes a lot of discipline.
oh, absolutely.
I've discovered that I don't write well in the summer because I want to do other things. I have
Mm-hmm.
grandkids. I want to take them camping. I want them to have experiences. And so while I had discipline writing for a newspaper,
All right.
I that's a different mindset.
Right.
You wrote for an hour, you're done.
Yeah.
You did the article, it's done, it's out of here, move on to the next.
That's correct.
And this is
Yes.
not the same way.
Yeah, because you're more structured before.
Yes, exactly.
Oh yeah.
And now I find I really like to just start and write through.
Okay. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
okay, just dun 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 dun. Dun. But if I
Yep.
get stuck, I don't call it writer's block. I'm just stuck because a lot of times my characters will do things that I don't expect them to do, and I have to like reevaluate. Wait a minute, this changes the whole complexion of the book, and I didn't know they were going to do this. So
So
yeah,
they may take over you, huh?
they kind of take over sometimes,
Sure.
and so
Sure.
then I have to react to that,
Right.
and
Yes.
I don't call it fixing it, but I have to I either have to take a detour and then get back on the right path, or I have to just go sightseeing, and they're dragging me along.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up because on my podcast, I'm doing a series on self-publishing and all the different things that could be involved. Could be from ISBNs, marketing,
Oh,
networking,
exactly.
and you hit the nail on the head on that one. Because on this video I put on this month, and part of that was when you're writing, just write because
Right.
it's still flowing. And if you go
Yes.
back, try to edit it and go back and forth, you're gonna lose that thought process.
If I step away from the writing for a few days,
Hmm.
if I have to be gone for a week or whatever, I go back and reread the first part of it to where I'm at,
Yes.
and there always is a little tweaking as I go through and read that, and I have to print it out
Okay.
and read it on paper.
Okay.
I'm not an electronic reader. I have to read everything on paper. And so it does get tweaked as I go. But when I get done, especially the first half is already edited.
Okay.
I
Sure.
don't take that much time to do it. I don't dwell on it, but I do just, yeah, just go.
Well, the great thing that you have though, Nisa, is that you have the background where you can edit it,
Exactly. Because I was an editor for a while,
and
even
that's
though I was still
huge.
writing.
Yes.
Yes. And so I have that ability. I also have a sister, two sisters. Well, actually, I have, 8 sisters, but that's another story.
Another
But I
book.
have one sister who reads it as I go
Nice.
and tells me to hurry up and get it done. And then I have another sister
Yeah.
who will proofread it for specific grammar,
Hmm.
things like that.
See, that's major. Where it really goes on in a book. You know, it's not
Yes.
just writing the story. There's so much technical things that you need to make sure.
Well, and I have to stop. For instance, I have to stop and ask myself a question: would they really be wearing um, shorts or summer clothes in this situation in Minnesota at this time of year? Um, what would they really be wearing? And then I have to, or if it's something more technical,
Hmm.
are we looking at a blue jay, or are we looking at a robin? Are they found in that area? So I have to stop and go back and research that because I don't want that wrong.
Now, do you, with your background though? I mean, is it when you're writing your own material, and with your background is it is such a huge plus. Does that get in the way of your
The
creativity?
No,
No.
no, not at all. No.
Okay.
Um, the biggest thing I've noticed is, and I didn't do this so much in newspaper writing because it wasn't applicable,
All right.
but I end a lot of sentences with prepositions. It's a
Yes.
grammar
Yes.
no-no,
Yeah.
um, but I have now tried to limit that to dialogue, because
Okay.
when we talk, when we are having dialogue, we do not necessarily go with grammar. We say it the way we say it,
Right.
and we end them with sorry, not propositions, but
Yeah.
prepositions. Um, and
Run
I
on.
look a lot. I once got edited for, I'm told I dangled a participle
Uh,
back early in my career. And so I am very conscious of not dangling participles, which is making an object do something a person would do. You know, um, even when we say the book flew across the room, really? Is that what I want to say?
right.
That the book flew across the room?
See that
Is there
that
a better way to?
you know that's a word that you hardly ever hear either. Is that participle
Yes, yes. Because most of us just skim over that. We wouldn't notice it.
or run on sentence? You just don't. You know.
And the use of commas. I mean, there's a lot of technical stuff that goes into it. I either use too many commas or not enough commas, depending on the
A
situation.
semicolon, a colon. Is it a period? A
I
question
I
mark?
never use a semicolon or a colon ever.
Oh.
I will go back and rewrite it so that it doesn't need one,
No. 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 Why?
because I don't want to do it wrong. I know how to do it right, but I think it's awkward. The right way is awkward,
Okay.
and so I don't want it to be wrong, and so I just the same goes for laying and lying.
Okay.
Did
Yeah.
he lay down? Did he lie down? Did he lie to my face? Did the chicken lay an egg? No. I work really hard not to even get into
yeah.
that little puzzle, because
Yeah. It's like there. What?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like okay. If you don't know the difference between the two, I mean, you can put the wrong word in there, and
And
yeah.
maybe I'm a grammar snob. I would say that my friends would not think that, but um, it bothers me as a newspaper writer that we now have um, Jack that went to the store, and it's Jack who. People are
Hmm.
who.
Yes.
They're not bats, and we use that all the time when in those situations. And it absolutely, that's probably my biggest grammar pet peeve.
Yes. That.
Um,
Yeah. And I think that's part of like journalism is where you have to have things specific, dates, times, I mean, it has to be as if you're.
Got to be right.
Yes. Absolutely.
You accidentally um, kill off a person who is not dead in a story.
Hmm.
In a newspaper story, I'm talking about. That's
Oh yeah.
bad.
Oh yeah.
People will call,
Especially when it's published.
and you never notice it until it's published. I
That.
once killed off a guy. The picture was laying with the of this nice looking guy was laying with the obituary, and I was pasting up the page. And so I put the obituary in, put the picture in, and after it was printed, I saw another paper with the same obituary and the same picture, and Yeah, this poor man, I killed him off, but he had actually been promoted at GM.
Oh my gosh.
And I thought he looked really good for being dead.
Oh, too good, right?
Too good for being dead. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
you know, that's,
Now, Nisa, your book comes in two formats, correct?
yes, it is electronic and then a paper edition.
Okay.
Is that what you're talking?
Yes. Now,
Yeah.
which of the two are your better results? Is it the hard copy or is it the?
Really don't see the numbers. I don't publish myself. I'm not a self-publisher, so I don't see the numbers for the electronically, the
Okay.
electronic um, versions. But I know a lot of people read those. They're handy. It's easy to do.
Hmm.
My sister, who reads everything, reads both, but she reads a lot of electronic,
Okay. Yeah.
and I don't read any electronic.
It's all hands on.
I got to have the paper in my hand.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I remember in college even. I'm always the one that opens up the book and I do footnotes and I destroy the book when I'm done with it. I mean, because I that's just me. I underline everything, highlight stuff, and
And I used to. I am more apt now to use post-it notes.
sure,
I have
sure.
post-it notes stuck everywhere in a book.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I have a book in mind. I have a plan, and I always thought that I would wait until I was this age to start writing. But I want to do four of the modern romances, the happily ever afters, and then I've got at least three historical, yeah, we'll call them romances, historical books based on real people. That those take years of research. I mean, I have a time travel. I want her to go back in time to 1798. What happened in 1798 in Washington, D.C.? I've got to know
Oh.
because somebody will pick that up.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
That's right.
so
You set that little seed in there, and people will be intrigued.
yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
Now, Nisa, what is like one of your most like challenging tasks for marketing?
I think it is um, getting. I feel like in today's society, we're on a book overload
Hmm.
because, say, 40 years ago, you would never think of self publishing.
Right.
It wasn't done. You just didn't do it. And now with self publishing and with being able to um, order on demand print,
Yes.
that it opens the door for a lot of more books out there on any given day, which means there's a lot more competition.
That's correct.
So the
Hmm.
trick to me is to figure out a way to make my book stand out and
Hmm.
everybody wants to pick it up. Short of being on the bestseller list, that helps a lot.
Right.
But those of us who are not yet, um, that's a challenge. That's the
Now,
biggest marketing challenge, I think.
yeah. Now, does the publisher do anything for you for like
Um,
marketing or?
he does
Okay.
some, but I don't consider. I saw. Let me give you this example. I saw this gal was on CBS Mornings on the show. She was promoting her book. It was published by Simon and Schuster,
Hmm.
and yet she's still out. And she made the comment that she had to do the marketing part of the marketing, and that's Simon and Schuster. That's a well known
That's right.
publisher. I think that when you go with a smaller publisher, which I did, that they don't have the resources that the bigger groups do.
Hmm.
And if I could be Nora Roberts, I would like that. I don't think she has to do much of her own promotion. She just
No.
sticks a book out there, it's promoted. You know.
Yeah. It's like every week she comes out with one.
Well, you might think that, but those of us who read Nora Roberts, and she's got a series of 1, 2, 3, it's a year and a half.
Yeah. My wife reads all that. Oh yeah.
A year and a half between books.
Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah, it takes a long time to get to
Yeah.
the next book.
Now, what kind of advice can you provide to someone that is just starting out, that wants to be a writer, or even publish a book? What's your advice to them?
Um, I think that the trick to it is to do it your way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, having said that, I'm kind of a snob. I'm a reading snob. I think that I always want to read third person past tense.
Hmm.
The first person present tense, I find difficult to follow.
Why?
I don't know. I could only come up with I'm a snob. That's that's all I could come up with. I think even first person past tense for me is easier, but I'm not sure I could ever write a first person present tense.
Mm-hmm.
And to do that well, and there are a lot of writers out there writing that way. Um, what's his name? Frederick. He wrote the book. Oh, Tom Hanks was in the movie. He's a grouchy old man. Um,
Uh,
he was living by himself. He tried to commit suicide like 6 times in the book.
I can't think of it offhand either.
I can't come up with the right. I probably will as soon as we're done here. But that was pretty much the first person, and it was past tense even, that I read recently. And I tend to go back. Third person is the done way. That's the way
Mm-hmm.
books from day one have been doing it. Now, I feel that if you're comfortable with that, you should do it. Keeping in mind that there's book snobs out there like me who have a hard time getting through them, and um, that may cut into your marketing
Right.
tool.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of authors out there who are doing it successfully.
Oh yeah, marketing's such a huge array of. I mean, really the sky's the limit with marketing. It all depends
And,
on the individual.
and then there's the old school people marketing that, the way I want to do it, which is to send out postcards and get, my book in stores. And then there's the social media
Absolutely.
that I absolutely struggle with. Um, I've never wanted to be tied to social media. And so to do a Facebook post every day, to do an
Oh yeah.
Instagram post every day, to do a TikTok video every day, it's a struggle.
Oh,
It's
it's
a
it's
struggle.
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And yet
Mm-hmm.
I follow a couple authors, and I see that um, they are doing that and doing it well. And the other piece of advice I would have for new writers starting out is don't rush it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't feel like you have to produce a book every 6 months.
Right.
My second book, I'm at a year. Part of it because I wanted to go camping with my grandchildren during the summer,
Not
but also because I just don't want it to be mediocre.
right. Right. Well, yeah, because it's a reflection on you too. You just don't want to just write it just to write it.
I don't want my facts to be wrong.
Right.
Um, so yeah, don't try to rush it. You don't have to publish a book every 6 months.
That's right. I think just publishing that one, and then the best that you did. I mean
Yes,
that's everything.
my mom always said it. If you're not going to do it right, don't do it.
That's correct. That's right.
So do it
Because
right.
that's right. Because if you just do it, put it out there, people are gonna look at this like, what this. You're gonna hurt yourself more than if you just
I,
took your
I
time.
agreed. And
Yeah.
there's a there you know and this is an interesting part of the process because Hallmark, everybody wants their book to be a Hallmark movie, their romance to be a Hallmark movie. The problem with that is that my book, I think it's happily ever after, it's sweet romance, etc. There's some sex in it, and Hallmark won't take it. So
Mm-hmm.
my husband says, Why don't you just take the sex out and write the story that Hallmark would like? And I say, I'm not writing for Hallmark, I'm writing for me.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
I have written for people for a long, long time, but now I'm writing for me.
yeah. That,
My
good for you.
historical novel that eventually I'm going to get to, I know I am, is about a real life person. Um, I don't know if anybody will even want to read it, but I feel the need to do it.
Good for you.
So
Yes, do it.
if I'm only recording history and telling a good story in the within that, then I'm okay with that.
That's good. Yeah, because if you
So
don't feel good about it, it's going to reflect.
exactly again, it's
Hmm.
this is me.
That's
This
right.
is me.
Yeah.
Yes.
People can when they read it and they can see it. It's the passion, and I think that says it all right there.
You remember I said the word that describes me would be passionate. I'm
Hmm.
passionate about telling these stories. I
That's
really
good.
am. They are um, they're all here to start with.
That's right.
But if I'm not passionate about the way it's written, then it's not going to come across to you as a good story.
Absolutely. So you stick to your guns, young lady.
Exactly. I
That's
am.
awesome.
Because I just feel that's the thing to do.
That's right. Now, Anissa, do you belong to any book clubs?
Um, no.
Okay.
Um, my sister and I, my sister was homeschooling her granddaughter the last couple of years, and so we did a book club, but we read some interesting stuff. Um, the
Hmm.
Frederick Bachman is his name.
Ah,
That's the author, Frederick
okay.
Bachman. Okay, now I'll come up with the title here soon. Um, but I read my first Agatha Christie novel within this book club.
Okay.
We read The Diary of Anne Frank, which I had never read. It was not required in school, never read it. Um, I was disappointed when I got done because I wanted to know the rest of the story. And there was eventually a book written about the rest of the story, the last
Hmm.
2 months of her life. So I went and found that. But we read some teen adventure,
Was that
the
like the?
Good Girls Murder Club or
Oh.
something like that. I don't remember what it was. Um, but, and so by doing so, I opened it up to a lot of different things.
Hmm.
But when I write, when I'm in the middle of really, really writing, I don't read. I can't. I don't want to take the chance that this is ethics. I don't want to take the chance that I will inadvertently take something from another book and
Okay.
use it. So I don't write or don't read when I write.
Hmm.
I have an author that um, during the summer when I wasn't doing so much writing, I read 3 of his books in a series. He's an author from Kansas City, and I've got the 4th one, and I've carried it around with me, but I can't do it. I'm deep in this other book, the new book that I'm writing, and I don't want to take away from my thought process.
That's good. Yeah, because the thought process. Yeah, you don't want to have other things interfering with that, and that makes perfect sense, though. Everybody has their own way of doing things, and that's perfect.
And I notice one of the novelist that I follow on Facebook, she gets up at 5 o'clock every morning and writes. And I don't know how much she writes, but she spends, that's what she considers her job.
Hmm.
And I don't. I have gotten to a rhythm now that I have a clipboard. I actually am writing everything out by hand. Um, I
Yeah.
love a typewriter. I love the sound of a typewriter. You can't beat that. But I tend to, when I'm sitting in the evening in my recliner with my dogs on my lap, I can use my clipboard and I can write easier than I can use my computer. And
Hmm.
my thought process flows a little bit better when I'm writing it down. And I like to write with my fingers. I
Yes.
like to write. That's very satisfying to me. But then I take my papers and the next morning I type it all in. And then I just repeat the process. In the meantime, I run an antique store
Oh, you do.
for a day job.
Okay.
And so that takes away from the middle of the day, so to
Now,
speak.
it's weird though. Especially like when you're writing a book, and you create characters and backgrounds and so on. Objects can do the same thing.
Yes,
I mean, just
absolutely.
just like when you brought up the antique store, I'm thinking, oh, that can open up a whole array of stuff.
You know, it's
No,
it's in an 1892 building
hmm.
with an opera house on the second story.
Oh, an opera house.
That is no longer used. Yeah, it's an opera house. It's still got the balcony, but it's an interesting building. And even more interesting than that is, there may be some stories set in an antique shop
Oh
later. There may
yeah.
be, okay. Um, but what I find interesting is the I call them artifacts. The
Mm-hmm.
pieces that I find, especially and this is my all-time favorite thing to do. So this may happen in another book. I don't know. I love going through people's stuff. When I do an estate and I clean out a house, the things you find in the
Oh,
basement
absolutely.
are absolutely, there's some fantastic things.
Oh
And
yeah.
those artifacts have a story to tell.
That's right.
Absolutely
Absolutely.
have a story
Yeah,
to tell.
I agree. I
So yeah, that may happen at some point, that will be included.
I
You
think
know,
that'd be
I
pretty cool.
I found a Shriner's hat in a box in a garage. I have a Shriner's hat, and it is the group from Phoenix, Arizona. Looked it up, researched it,
Mm.
and the man who wore it, there's a tag on the inside of it, and his name is sewn into it. So I know who owned the hat, and he died in 1905. Phoenix, their club was only from they started in 1896. So
Mm.
this hat has to be from only 1896 to 1905.
Oh my gosh.
And the man went missing in the desert in Mexico, and it took him a year to find his body. There is a huge story there.
Oh,
Huge
absolutely
story
there
there.
is. Oh,
It's a true story. I have a picture of the man that I found in the basement of the house, and so to me that becomes he is a real person, but he becomes real character.
mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
so, and he is that that missing expedition that he was on is well known enough to have been written about, not in a book per se.
But for you to find that hat, I mean that's
Isn't that crazy?
oh man, that's gratifying though in a way that you were able to piece all that together. And
Yes,
you
I
have
love research. I love research, and I don't know if that goes back to the newspaper thing, but I love doing the research to connect the
oh
the
yeah,
object that I found with a real person,
you connected the dots.
because the real person has the story to tell.
Absolutely. I say that all the time. Everybody has a story. Ma-
You just have to dig until you find it.
That's
Yeah.
right. Absolutely. Now, Nisa, now do you have a website?
I do. It's NeesaLeeAuthor.com.
Okay. Now, are your books on Amazon as well?
They're on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and then on Kindle.
Very nice.
So,
Now you are working on two books and
well,
future
okay, there
ones.
might be like, if I have an idea, I might write the first chapter. In the time travel instance, I have 3 chapters done. But now I'm in Washington D.C. in 1798.
Now, is this going to be a novel,
Oh,
Nisa? This next one? Is
yes.
it's going to be a
The
novel?
the next one,
Your next
um,
book?
my next book, it'll be the
Do you have the title yet?
yes, it's called Save Tomorrow for Me.
Ah,
Is my next one. Yeah. And
okay.
it's just a modern romance. It's not just a modern romance, but it's a modern romance. The time travel is down the road a ways,
Okay, but at least you
but
got
I can
something.
see 2 time travels coming in my future. I love time travel. Um, I love history.
Hmm.
I love the um, the movies that have time travel
Oh yeah.
in them. My husband is not so much of a time travel person, but he never says no. We're not watching that because it's time travel. He gets confused,
Oh, now
but he never says we're not watching
now,
it.
did you ever see that movie, Somewhere in Time, with Christopher Lee? He played Superman.
No, I don't think so. One time. We'll have to
Christopher
check it
Lee.
out.
Yeah, it's called Somewhere in Time, and he goes back in time, and it's an awesome movie, and it was made on Mackinac Island.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
could definitely see novels being written about it.
so
Yeah.
check that movie out. It's really good. You'll like that one.
We just watched one, La Brea.
La Brea. Mm.
It was a series on ABC. Its last season was this winter, and we had never watched it before, and so I watched the first three seasons, bam, 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 and then now it's over. But yeah, it was a time travel back to 10,000 BC from Los Angeles.
Oh boy.
So, and that was just it was on ABC. But yeah, it's like, okay, we had to binge that, and then I had to watch the rest of it. Yeah.
Now, Nisa, when you go on events, like let's say book signing events, how do you set up your table, and what do you use?
Um, I have mine is really simple. Okay,
Hmm.
I don't hand out a lot of things. Um,
Not a lot of swag.
no, not a lot of swag. Um, I have some, so it's just a table. Okay,
Okay.
just a
Hmm.
table. I have my pile of books. I have my stand that says who I am and about my book and the price and stuff. And then I usually have a bowl of flowers or something, a vase of flowers. I don't know, just to break up
Sure.
give it a little softness.
Sure.
And I have previously, I made a whole bunch of little hearts out of, just odds and ends material. And I don't have one to show you, but they're little hearts. They have buttons on them and stuff. And so I might have a big compote bowl there with those stuffed in it to give away. That's my swag. And I have
Okay.
bookmarks.
Oh, nice.
I think bookmarks are pretty much your business card.
Right.
You
Yes.
know, they that's you want them to. I had to figure out how to do the scan code thing. What do
Oh,
we
sure.
call those? The little
Yeah.
box
Oh, yeah. The people can just
yeah,
click it and go right to your
to my
information.
website.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say that I'm not as good of updating my website as I would like to be. I do have a Facebook page that gets a little bit more. Again, you know, social media.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Now, do you have any events coming up, Nisa?
Um, no, not right now. Excuse me, I'm gonna have to cough. um, my grandkids gave me a cold last week,
Oh.
so I still have the cough. But I don't have anything planned right now, and I probably won't until I get done with my book.
Okay.
Um, I want my husband says you should have at least two books when you go to sign, because if you can sell one or the other, they'll come back and buy the other. He's sure of that. Having said that, he's never read it.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
He's not a reader.
Okay.
He's not a romance reader. You might be able to get him to read a Western, but it takes him a long time.
Oh.
So he is. I think this is interesting though, because in all the time I was writing, he never gave me any input until the last year.
Hmm.
And now I feel like that I can say to him, I've got this problem that I don't know exactly how to resolve it. What do you think would happen in this situation? And he will actually give me input now.
Okay.
Now I know he's still not going to read it,
No,
but that's okay.
that's okay. The feedback, right?
The feedback, yeah. And he's never done that we've been married for nearly 45 years.
Well, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. But
Of
he's never
course.
given me any
Oh,
input into my writing until now.
okay. Hey, now, do you do any like speaking engagements, Nisa, at all?
I would be completely open to that. First of all, I love to travel. Second of all, I like to talk. And having said that, the caveat with this is that when I get in front of big crowds, I just fall apart. I mean,
Oh,
it scares me so much. If we can keep it to less than 25, but I did a speech for a ladies group, and I'm talking. This is maybe part of the reason why this was some years ago. But I'm talking, and I had a hard time getting up there to talk anyway. And I'm talking along, and I see a lady in the back, one of the organizers, running. Okay, she's running out of the room, and I kind of make a joke that, oh, geez, I hope lunch isn't burning. No, totally, a lady in the third row from the back had a stroke,
mm.
and she was going to call the ambulance. And so I had to stop and, wait. And then I had to go back into it. And it was just like, yeah.
Hmm.
And after that, I pretty much said, everybody check their hearts before we start.
Oh.
I don't want to send anybody to the
No.
hospital today. She did recover. So that was okay. But that was kind of traumatic for me.
Oh, sure.
I prefer
Absolutely.
to do smaller groups, but, with the right incentive, I could maybe do a larger group.
Right.
Yeah, because I like to talk.
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
Yes. Well, Nisa, this has been a wonderful pleasure, and I wish you the very best. And please keep me informed on your writing and when your books are ready, because I love to have you
I
back on
will
the
do that.
program.
I will do that. I had thought to have people have suggested you should have a podcast of your own. You should have a podcast of your own. It's like, if I had a podcast of my own, I would probably talk about antiques.
Because you love antiques, you love the
And I
history.
like history. I
Yeah.
like the research. I would rather talk about that than books. I have read a lot of the classics, but I have not. I read for entertainment.
Hmm.
It's no different than going to the movie. I don't necessarily want to read something that's good for me. I hardly ever read self-help books because
Yeah.
they're good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to be entertained.
But your passion though is history though too. And I can see that.
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
I think that at some point I would like to have um, one of my characters be a paleontologist.
Mm.
I love fossils. I like even that history. I like rocks, and any of my friends can tell you rocks it is.
And rocks,
But
yeah. Talk
yeah,
about
rocks.
history.
Yes, yeah, yeah. So all of it, and I want to travel to the places where the history occurred. I want to go those places and
Do,
and
do you ever watch Expedition Unknown with Josh
love
Gates?
Expedition Unknown. Love Josh Gates.
Oh yeah,
Love Looking for
yeah.
Treasure. My favorite movie in the whole world is The Goonies.
Oh,
You get pirates,
oh yeah.
treasures in a cave on a Saturday afternoon. I am there.
That's
I'm there.
awesome. That is
Take me
awesome.
with you. Yeah, I've been to the Goonies house twice.
Oh, there. Hey,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's awesome
Because
though.
because quite frankly, Astoria, Oregon is a beautiful, beautiful place to go.
Hmm. Yeah, my younger brother lives in Portland, and he's not
Oh
far from
yeah,
there.
yeah,
So
so,
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
You know
wonderful.
what I'm talking about,
Yes, I do.
and that's where Lewis and Clark ended up.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
See, I mean,
so
sky's the limit for you, Nisa. See.
it is, it is, it is. There's so many stories that I don't think I could ever be done.
Hmm.
And on top of that, I have 25 years worth of a weekly column that is just waiting to go into a because there's stories. There's characters,
Hmm.
and although it is written in first person because I'm in it, I was the person writing it, and
Hmm.
but there's characters. There, and it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious.
Well, this
My
keep.
husband says those ones that are about me are not so funny.
Oh, yes, they are.
They are.
That is awesome, though. Just keep it going. I mean, just keep those juices flowing, and just keep writing, and
Yeah.
I'm very happy for you, and I wish you the very best. And thank you so much too
Thank you.
for
Well,
being
thank
on
you
the
for
program.
having me. Yeah, thank you
Absolutely.
for having me. I've enjoyed it.
Well, thank you so much, Nisa, and I shall talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
You have a wonderful
Book's
day.
coming out, and I don't know when. I don't have a release date for it or anything, but it's coming together pretty quickly.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Thank you, and just
I
keep it
just don't
up.
know how it ends. Don't
Oh,
know how it ends yet.
you'll get there though.
Well,
Yeah.
somewhere I'll
Yeah.
get there. It'll be a surprise.
Yes. But
Yeah.
thank you again, and you have a fantastic day.
You too. I'm going to go sell antiques.
There you go. There you go. You have a great day, Nisa.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Bye
Bye
bye.
now.